My name is Joanna Bird. I lead our sales team here at NeuraFlash and our AWS go-to-market. I joined NeuraFlash a little over 2.5 years ago, after almost 5 years with the AWS team and part of the Amazon Connect organization. So been part of the Amazon Connect ecosystem since the beginning, and looking forward to sharing with you a little bit about what we do over here at NeuraFlash today. I'm excited to spend the afternoon here with Patrick, who's going to introduce himself here shortly, to really dive into what we've built, this NeuraFlash Desktop for Amazon Connect, a product that really was, thought of and brought to market as part of something to enhance the Amazon Connect workspace and bring some out-of-the-box features to customers and to market. During the presentation, feel free to drop any questions that you have in the chat. We'll have time at the end to answer any of those questions that get dropped in there, as well as any live questions for people to raise their hand and comment at the end. So feel free to do that. Patrick, I'm going to hand it over to you to do an introduction here of yourself, and then maybe kick things off by telling us just like, what is the NeuraFlash Desktop for Amazon Connect, and why did we bring it to market?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Joanna, and pleasure to join you all today. My name's Patrick Barries. I'm head of product and innovation at NeuraFlash. I'm also been a huge fan of AWS technologies for a long time, and in fact, spent over a decade at Salesforce and built the first product partnership between AWS and Salesforce. So the NeuraFlash Desktop for Amazon Connect is really a product that is meant to expand the capabilities that AWS has in a very native way without building a custom desktop, and is really inspired by the innovation that AWS continues to roll out around Connect, around their agent workspaces capability, and the capabilities that are now available in third-party apps for partners and customers to plug into. It's also inspired dramatically by our customers. NeuraFlash repeatedly does a lot of implementations of Amazon Connect, and here's some of the same things from customers over and over about what they're looking for, what they expect to be in the solution. And we took that feedback both from our customers and also from Amazon directly, and we built this add-on capability that really extends and expands what Amazon Connect Agent Workspace is capable of doing. And we did that specifically focused on the feedback that we heard around agent capabilities and expectations for agent UX, the supervisor capabilities and visibility into the contact center, as well as what admins need and the tools that they expect to have in a real CCaaS solution, built for the mid-market and the enterprise space. And so that's what we've brought to market here with the NeuraFlash Desktop. It's really an extension and expansion on top of what AWS already provides, based on what we hear in the market and what we heard repeatedly from customers that they wanted us to build as part of their implementations. So rather than to have every customer, rebuilding the same things, we took the common points and we built them into a specific pre-built package that sits alongside Amazon Connect Agent Workspace.
I know we're going to talk a lot about it here in a little bit, but excited to hear more just about the leveraging kind of that foundation and why we chose to go kind of in that direction from a market perspective. Why don't we take a second though just to dive a little bit deeper? You had kind of mentioned customers said this and customers said that, and this is like really what drove the roadmap and the reason for the product launch. But what were some of the specific challenges or limitations, honestly, of the workspace that you felt we heard a lot, and some of the reasons by some these features that we launched?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we think about what a modern contact center needs and what people expect in that solution, those needs continue to evolve, but they often are driven by the last system that a customer used to use, right? They've been on Genesys or Avaya or Cisco for a decade, and they've have certain reports that they run their business by, and the users are used to going to a certain place to run a process or navigate to records, et cetera, et cetera. And so those expectations often drive sort of their starting point when they're using a new system of any kind. And as you know, AWS has intentionally solved the problems of the contact center from a different angle, a more modern angle, a cloud first angle, a very agile, technical side of the equation. That means that those expectations are not always immediately met. And of course, as an SI, that led us to build things for customers. But also, I think, leads to that starting point of, let's call it dissatisfaction, or at least missing the initial expectation. And so there were capabilities that customers continued to look for around running their operations on this solution. So having better visibility into what's happening in the contact center. What are my agents doing? How many are online? How long have they been in that status? Capabilities for agents around having visibility into queue size and how many fellow agents are available right now and who's available. How am I performing against my metrics? Capabilities for quickly putting changes into the IVR from the admin perspective. And these are the kinds of things that we heard and heard repeatedly, so that we prioritize those and put them into this product.
Yeah, and I think, for customers that are builders, they like the foundation that AWS provides, but these features for them can accelerate, some of the table stakes, that they're looking for. So there's kind of a market for both the builder who wants to just accelerate and move faster, and maybe the buyer who's really looking for these features out of the box.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a big part of our thought process in terms of what to prioritize. And we looked for common requirements that were standardized across multiple customers, because if every customer needs something fully different, then that's a great build opportunity. But there's no reason that every customer should build the same functionality for raising a flag from an agent, or supervisor focused dashboards. Like, use your great builder resources to build stuff that differentiates your company. There's no reason to use them to build table stakes and repetitive features that many people would want.
Yeah, exactly. So let's dive into some of these features. I think from an overview perspective, let's talk about some of the tactical features that were delivered as part of the NeuraFlash Desktop, both from an agent and a supervisor perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the features that are included in this package include, things like the ability for an agent to select their outbound caller ID before they make an outbound call from a list of possible answers. That's something that seems really simple, but it's something that is expected to be there. And if you have that certain kind of outbound process, it's something that people will miss. And we saw that repeatedly happen. We built agent-facing real-time dashboards that show agents how many of their colleagues are online, how long is the queue, what's their current answer time look like. And so that gives them data to help them understand the context of what they're working on, which is huge for agents to not just sort of be at the end of a line of incoming tickets, but to actually understand the bigger picture, and gives them data that's really relevant to choices that they need to make. Like, is this a good time for my break or my lunch? Or how many people are available in this queue, or maybe in this other configuration, to be able to make choices about how they're handling the work that they're on, or is this something that maybe should be moved to somebody else, et cetera. We built the ability for agents to have personal voicemails. So agents can actually type into AWS a specific voicemail that they want to be read out, and then Lex will read that out for each individual agent. And that doesn't exist in the system out of the box today. We also built a Microsoft Teams integration, which was a big ask that we had from many customers in the space. There's no doubt that Microsoft Teams is widely used, as is now Amazon Connect, and so having those two systems work better together was a big ask in that space. And then, of course, we built supervisor focused dashboards, and even the ability for supervisors to see what's going on with their agents, and even deal with a flag raise concept, which really doesn't exist in Workspace today.
The Microsoft Teams one, that's always a topic.
Yeah.
As a salesperson, coming from AWS and now here on the partner side, to your point, lots of customers have invested in Microsoft for their back office and their communication. And a lot of customers have invested in Amazon Connect and want to move to Amazon Connect. But how do we make those two things work together? And so maybe we could dive just a little bit deeper, and I know there's a little visual representation here as well, but dive a little bit deeper into the features that are involved in the Microsoft Teams integration in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's included in our product today is a status sync from Amazon Connect to Microsoft Teams. One of the first complaints that we heard was that there was no connection between those two things that led to agents being interrupted while they were on a call with a customer. So if you're on a call or a chat with a customer, your status can be reflected in Teams so that someone doesn't come over the top and try to reach out to you, especially with more people using Teams for sort of UCaaS type functionality or calls. You really shouldn't be getting a call or even have to worry about declining a call from Teams while you're engaging with a customer on Amazon Connect. And so that was the first thing that we built, and that's available in the product today, as is a really cool visual that shows you as an agent all of your colleagues and their current team status. So you can see as you're working on this case, who's available right now for you to potentially reach out to, or who is, available to collaborate on this or even to hand this off to you potentially. So the ability for the two systems to work better together, considering, the market share and the power of those two platforms, is what we were seeking to achieve here. And obviously there's more to come in this space as well. Most importantly, after about 1 quarter from now or so, we will have the ability for customers and users to actually interface with Teams fully from within the Amazon Connect workspace. And so you'll be able to actually chat and communicate with people who are on Teams and not necessarily in the contact center using Amazon Connect. And we're even working on the ability to transfer calls from Amazon Connect into Teams for those customers who are using Teams for their back office or their other employees. And so that will really, kind of expand on the initial foundation that we've laid here, where Teams and Amazon Connect share the same status, and therefore you're avoiding those interrupts and allowing your agents to focus on their customers.
Very cool. Yeah, looking forward to some of that. I mean, the visual representation, super modern, very easy to use. So I think customers will certainly like that functionality built right into the workspace. And we're already seeing customers kind of adopt and start leveraging that feature since this has been in market, even for the short few weeks that it has, month and a half here or so. So looking forward to that one just growing and continuing to be a good, a very large part of this product. There was another feature that you mentioned earlier, and we talk about it kind of internally as this seemed like a table stakes feature that then, what seemed simple became a little bit more robust, and customers talk a lot about it being really powerful for them. But the recent activities feature for the agent, talk a little bit about how we built that, some of the additions that we made to it, and what makes it so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the initial requests that we heard from a few customers was, I want my agents to be able to quickly see a list of their previous calls, the calls that they've had or the interactions that they've had, recently. And so we started gathering requirements and kind of talking to multiple customers about that. And it turned out that customers were looking for a little bit more than that, or that different customers had different requirements. And so we kind of, refactored what we were going to go build. And what we ended up building was this component that we call recent activities. And recent activities is, at first it's a list of the recent things that the agent has done, inbound calls, outbound calls, chats, or whatever. And it allows them to go back in time and to look at those records very easily and navigate back to those records. We also included, though, the ability to take notes on those individual records. You can do that in real time while you're on the call. You can also do that after the call's over, and you can append or adjust those notes later by going back and finding those records. But the search capability really opens up a lot of efficiency and a lot of use cases for agents. The search is a complex search across the multiple objects and multiple records and fields on those objects. So as you search, you can actually find records for, show me all the outbound calls, show me all the calls that I missed, show me the calls where product ABC was mentioned, assuming that you put those in the notes, or show me all the calls where the sentiment was a certain score. And so that became a really great navigation and find tool for agents to go find those records for somebody that they talked to yesterday or last week or whenever, and be able to then make updates quickly without having to sort of navigate separately and go find those records in a different way. That kind of findability became a really big win for many agents whom, we started building the feature for a list of the previous conversations, but it turned into, a much more powerful tool for taking notes and for finding records and for updating things after the fact. That's just stronger than the sort of out of the box functionality for doing those things.
Yeah, it definitely has been another one of those features I think that customers have like attached themselves to. Current customers adding it as an accelerator for their agents and providing a lot of valuable feedback for them. So excited about that one. I think it goes without mentioning too that all of these have been have been launched for the last couple of months and customers are adopting them. As we get into some of the supervisor features, I know we just launched some supervisor capabilities in the last couple of weeks. These are, exciting new additions to the agent desktop in the NeuraFlash Desktop, but maybe talk a little bit about some of the supervisor capabilities that we're bringing to market. The reporting in the dashboard seems, we keep using the word table stakes or customers just, demand it, but talk a little bit about like, where we went with this, what types of reporting and visuals that we built, and then speak a little bit to that flagging and the power kind of leveraging digital coaching and giving agents and supervisors that ability to communicate with one another on a call.
Yeah, absolutely. So the most recent features that we added to the package were focused on the supervisor persona and their needs in a CCaaS solution and those expectations that they may have, again, coming from legacy platforms or working in the space for a long time. So we started with supervisor-focused dashboards that are specifically built for understanding what's happening in your contact center. Those views combine historical data and real-time data on the same page so that when you're looking at the real-time data, you can understand how that sits in context to the bigger picture or how it was yesterday or last week, which is the kind of information that is considered sort of table stakes by supervisors in the space and is really what allows them to manage and monitor what's going on in their contact center. How busy am I? Do I have one queue that's overloaded? How's my performance doing? Which agents are super busy or which agents are not busy, to then go take action and to continue to manage and optimize their contact center. So we started with these supervisor-focused views that really have been very appealing to a lot of the customers that we've been working with in this space. It's something that, again, they sort of come to the table expecting. You might not even see this show up in an RFP, for example, from a customer, right? A customer who is looking for a solution may not even think about putting this as a requirement because it's expected to be part of the solution. In addition, we built a whole set of capabilities around the idea of raising a flag. And so obviously in contact centers, this is sort of a very standard capability. And so agents now have the ability to digitally raise a flag, which can be seen by supervisors. The supervisors can first see that there's a flag raised and then accept that they're going to go help this agent. And from there, they can use the built-in functionality in Salesforce for things like barge in or having a side conversation with the agent to help them with that challenge. But the idea of raising a flag and the visibility to that and the sort of workflow between an agent raising it and putting in a comment and then a supervisor recognizing it and then accepting it and then doing something about it, that wasn't really out of the box from the tools that we started with. And so that was one of those pieces that sort of, expectations were already there. We got the right feedback from customers and from AWS on, what would be the appropriate solution. And then we constructed that so that not every customer has to go and reinvent the wheel and build that same functionality.
Yeah, when it comes to reporting, that's always been a balance, from an AWS perspective, it's like reporting is one of those things that customers always want custom. So how as the major provider, do I really go to market with a dashboard for everyone? Like that is just not going to work for everyone. And so there's never been a shortage of raw data from AWS to feed these reports. It's just more about how do we let partners and customers build on top of that raw data and you know put things like this into the market. And so I think, you know, one of the things that's interesting about when we would hear this feedback over and over again was that there was still, you know, data strategies with like data science teams that were totally outside of this. And there were data strategies, you know, that were historical, that were different, but customers were still like, I still have a supervisor that sits here that wants this. And so it was really just like, you know, an interesting way for our customers to just say, I mean, the raw data is great. And in theory, everything is custom. But to your point, there are just some things that we're used to, and they should be pretty easy to visualize. And so I think this really solves that for those customers and those users, those personas in particular.
Absolutely. And another example of where, you know, start with a foundation, which is, you know, sort of out of the box and is native, and then expand from there. If you have custom needs, that's awesome. And as you said, around reporting and kind of business KPIs, most customers do. But there's no reason to, you know, build everything either.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for walking through some of those features. Before we take and kind of open the door up to questions from customers here, I would like to take a minute to just talk a little bit more about NeuraFlash more broadly for those of you who have not worked with NeuraFlash in the past. We're an all-in like service transformation partner. We deliver on both the AWS and the Salesforce side. And a lot of customers are invested in those two platforms. If they're not on the AWS side, we love building Amazon Connect inside of this agent workspace, and bringing your data from homegrown platforms or other third-party platforms directly into a consolidated view with the workspace and the NeuraFlash Desktop product. We've got a lot of customers and are growing really fast here at NeuraFlash. Expertise when you consider the contact center truly end to end. So everything from your advisory services, if you're not really sure what you need and you need some help getting there and building that business case, to the actual implementation of products like this and custom development and self-serving bots and generative AI agent assist capabilities. All the way through that you know change management and post go live managed service. So we can take you from the very beginning of your evaluation of Amazon Connect and AWS all the way to the end and can do that on a global scale. Awesome. You can see the NeuraFlash Desktop product available through the AWS Marketplace, as well as reach out to me or Patrick with any follow-on questions. We'd be happy to show a demo of the whole thing, customize it to your needs, and help you with any of those evaluation activities.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Joanna, and thank you for all the attendees. Certainly look forward to having those conversations.